Thank you. Work. We all do it. We wake up every morning, we go and we get ready, and we think about what the day will be. We get up, we stretch, we sit on the edge of the bed like, what do we do? But what I want us to think about is that for many, they get up, put their clothes on, go about what they have to do. But for some, they wake up and wonder what the day will hold. For some, we may wake up and think about, man, will I be seen at work today? Many wake up and wonder, should I wear this outfit? Will I be too much of a woman? Will I be too cultural with this outfit? For many, we wake up and we get in the car and we turn on our music and we say, oop, when I get to the garage, let me turn it down, because I don't want them to think that I'm that type of person. Then we walk into our office and we look at the walls and we sit there and say, this looks sterile and dry. But it's because the cultural art we may want to put on our wall, we don't, because we're not sure of the political repercussions at work. Then we go to our calendar and we ask ourselves, which meeting will someone mansplain me away from today? And then we look at the next meeting and say, that guy is going to be in that meeting, and he never thinks about what I have to say because he's seeing me through his lens of bias. And now imagine going back to your office at the end of the day and sitting there saying, oh, I'm so tired. But you don't have a physical job and you're in air conditioning. So what are you really tired of? What you're tired of is the emotional and the physical fatigue of battling bias and exclusion and discrimination and stereotyping all day. And that is a challenge. So when we think about the fact that there's a whole population in our nation that is experiencing that, we have to ask ourselves an important question. What are the health and wellness impacts of dealing with that every day for a whole career? There's research that shows that when we have anxiety and stress, it induces emotional, psychological, and physical distress and unwellness. Now, we may be asking ourselves the question, what do we do about that? Or how do we really know? When I'm working with my different clients, different Fortune 500 companies, there's always someone who says, well, Dr. C, how do we know though? I said, because I'm telling you, and you're paying me big bucks for me to tell you. But if you'd like some data, a couple of years ago, I started something called the Mask Project, where I started collecting thousands of narratives of the experience of people wearing the mask at work, hiding themselves, concealing things about them, suppressing their mere existence in order to navigate the corporate and business and professional terrain. And when I would go into different boardrooms, different conferences, speaking, all of these things, there'd always be a moment that would happen. Someone would say, Dr. Charles, can I talk to you real quick? Sure, why are we whispering? Because I need to talk to you real quick. Okay. So I go and I stand in a corner with them in some hotel lobby or conference room, and they say, okay, I had this situation. And it would always start with that. And as it went on and on and on, the look of distress and anxiety was almost like reliving a trauma. Now, someone may say, oh, work's not traumatic when you're making good money. And it can be, especially when our work environment is rooted and embedded in a historical trauma of work. I once had an executive ask me, well, Dr. Charles, I have a question. I said, I got answers. He said, our Black talent is performing well, but you're telling me they're not happy. I said, well, there was this thing called slavery where we kind of had to wake up every day and smile through pain and work for free. I said, so there's this narrative in our community of keep your head down, focus, and get the job done with a smile. I said, so yes, the performance metrics may look good, but have we done some qualitative assessment of how they feel? And so then they go, oh, I say, yeah, right? So when we think about these organizations, the question then becomes, what are the policies and procedures to set up to make sure that we are paying attention to this subgroup? And this subgroup is anyone who is stigmatized, anyone who is stereotyped, anyone who's a numerical minority in a space or is in the lesser power structure. So organizations need to start focusing on what that subpopulation is dealing with. And some of those options are culturally competent coaching. Because think about this, if we broke our leg at work, there's paperwork for it. There's OSHA making sure that things were safe. There's FMLA we can take, right, to take our time off. And it's very easy to navigate. But what about the person who is emotionally unwell because they're having anxiety and panic attacks at work because they're having to hide and suppress their true essence? And they don't want to tell anybody because they feel weak and vulnerable and may be seen as incompetent. What do we tell the woman who is pregnant but hiding her pregnancy because she's concerned that if she reveals it too early, she'll be passed up for that promotion? What is that doing to her physiologically? There's a scholar named Dr. Thames at the University of Southern California, and she's recently done some amazing work with her colleagues that shows that discrimination leads to higher levels of inflammation for African Americans. That's bad enough in itself. But the way in which it happens is because she has shown that our genes are being activated in a certain way that leads to that inflammation. So if we think about this inflammation and what that can then lead to, we're dealing with a lot here. So when we're talking about diversity and inclusion, we're not just talking about the right budget or getting the right role in place to manage the others. What we're talking about is being empathetic to an experience that you may not understand as a leader and believing what your people are saying. What it means is that you have to sometimes understand that you don't know all there is to know, but to trust the people that do. And what it means is putting money and resources behind the programming that can help this health and wellness dilemma, connected and rooted to in exclusion and bias, and putting money towards those things. I ask clients often, do you put more money towards landscaping or your diversity and inclusion efforts? Because I know the answer. So what I'd like to challenge us all with is thinking about the fact that we have to pay attention and see people and understand that diversity is not just some cliche word. Inclusion is not just some festival of foods from our cultures. This is an issue that is impacting people deeply and in very intense ways. So while the world may not shift and the world may not change overnight or even in our lifetime, if there's anything I'd like to leave you with, if you're one of these people that I've been speaking about, it's just like when we get on the plane and they tell us to put our oxygen mask on first. I'm challenging you to put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Thank you.